Hi guys, what's up? We're going to continue the review for this, so we're going to do all 4 stars. It's Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, second part. We're going to talk about more chapters. I have a little bit more energy, so we're going to do it quickly so I can move on to the next book already. I'm anxious, I want to read it. Let's see. I need to get my script on the screen, but I don't know. We could start doing this. I also wrote something at the end, which I'm going to read it because okay. There it is. Let's see where it goes. I love doing this. This is one of my favorite things to do in the book. But it's so big. Okay, I have four. I have the fourth. Okay, let's go to the last chapter in this. Nine. With 4 stars. So all of these episodes I'm going to talk about are above the last one. Okay. So in last place for 4 stars. So this episode are above the third star, 3 stars and 2 stars, obviously. In last place is chapter 4, number 12, Grimwald Place, in which Harry is reunited with Ron and Hermione, leader of the Order of the Phoenix, and is reunited with his godfather Sirius Black, which is the happiest part of it. Well, the reason, like, you would think the reuniting with Ron and Hermione would be just happy, but no, because throughout the summer they just left him to be, and with the PTSD that he had after seeing someone die in front of his eyes and being left all summer long with his abusive aunts and uncle. Like, what do you expect him to behave as? So I know people criticize Harry a lot because of that. I'm not saying maybe he shouldn't take it on them, but I mean, they did keep secrets from him. They did keep him in the dark. It's valid for Harry to feel the way he feels. I just don't get the Harry, I don't get the hatred for this book as well. I just loved it so much. It was so much happened every episode. It was so intense. It was so dark. You can feel the darkness. It was there's so many episodes where Harry just doesn't feel the same character anymore. I feel like beforehand, Harry felt way more, I don't know, not bitter. He wasn't bitter. He's so bitter in this for reasons, of course, but it was so up until there. It wasn't serious. It wasn't, no one died up until then. When the moment someone died, that's when it became real for him and for us. So, so he reunites with them and he shouts on them. So it's not as exciting as you think it would be, but it's still a good episode. But let's move on to see what's next. Wait for it, guys. Okay. 13. Next one is above the last. In next is chapter 2, A Pack of Owls, in which Harry is expelled from Hogwarts. Uncle Vernon swears. Aunt Petunia reveals knowledge of Wizarding World. Dumbledore interferes, and Harry is no longer expelled but suspended, pending a Ministry of Magic disciplinary hearing. So basically that's it. The most what made me put it on 4 stars, because I don't love this episode with them, but because we get to like such a reveal, we get to know that she knows about the wizarding world. Like, it's surprising. She getting out. That is a foreshadowing to what we will know in the future. Like in the end of the book, actually, where we know what was sent to her, because he is sent a howling letter that is like screams at you, like a letter that screams at you in anger. We get to know it in the second book, and they're just knowing that she knows about them, and like she talks about knowing. It's just such a like shocking moment to me. So like that makes one of the only episodes is when he is with the Dursleys, like, good. Whenever it's gonna be. Okay, in next chapter 26, Seen and Unforeseen, in which Hermione gives Harry advice on his love life. Gryffindor continues its losing streak at Quidditch, and Harry article is published in the Scribble. So that part is the best part. That's what it's about. Everything else, the rest is like fun, like things. It's fun to see them talk about love life. It's fun to see them just like normal teenagers interacting and like being friends, because everything else in this book is not that. But what I love about it is the part when his words being published and people starting to pay attention, to believe him, to like it's it gets the attention. I like that move. It was a smart move. So that's what it's about. Everything else, yes, 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 yes. We're gonna get. Next, chapter 13, Detention with Dolores. Yes, in which Hermione stops the twins from experiencing on the first years. Ron tries to stop a unknown house, uh, trying to stop unknown house elf from taking Hermione's needed hats, and Professor Grubbly Plank teaches care of medical creature in there. There's still no sign of Hagrid. Harry serves Umbridge detention, in which an enchanted quill cuts land into the back of his hand, and Ron tries out for the makes of Gryffindor team as a keeper. First of all, I know she tortures him. I don't know, like, you would think I would put it lower because I put the hearing there, but I just love how resilient he is. That he doesn't. It's outright abusing. I just love Harry inner strength is in this book, and I know he's not saying anything to anybody. It's not inner strength. I'm talking about in the moment, not breaking, just keeping a straight face, keeping like knowing she wants him to break. It's a physical, it's a psychological thing, and it is, but it's so fascinating to read. So it has to be above everything else. It's just like she's like the most twisted character ever, and this like episode shows you that. And I really love. I know the running Quidditch thing at the end is fine. I don't really care. Like, I kind of care, but it's not why it's up there, because no. So it's like just the left little thing that happened in the episode is okay, happened. But I love that Ron sees his hand and like tell someone. But like the reason he doesn't want to test like Dumbledore, but I think he should have told to McGonagall anyway, because that would have stopped the madness. But I get why he doesn't want to talk to Dumbledore, because he's been ignoring him all year long, not paying attention to him, and like that. Harry thinks him and Dumbledore has a connection. There's enough for him to speak to him about stuff. I don't know. That's why it's so upsetting. Like Dumbledore just ignores him throughout this whole year. It just preference. You can speak to him about that, and that's very grave in my opinion. Um, like what have we reached at this point? Anyway, okay, next chapter 31, owls, which is the exams, like that's the highest score you can get in an exam, and in which Harry and Hermione tell Ron about Grub, which is the animal Hagrid is raising. We talked about that chapter last time because it was good, but I felt that it was a little too long, and just in comparison to other chapters, it just felt a little bit, you know, especially with the episodes afterwards and the episodes beforewards that were really good. That's why that kind of like, okay, informative episode, not, so good, important to read it, but so this is after that. So they talk about, also in that episode we have Ron winning, but we didn't really see the game. We went into see Grok instead. So in this chapter they tell him about Grok to Ron because it was Hermione and Harry alone. Yeah, the fifth year takes their owls, which is, it's like terminals, like at the end of the year, like when you're like about to graduate from school, type of thing. And I want to make this shorter. Anyway, Harry is sad. McGonagall is stunned, and Harry dreams about Sirius being tortured. So yeah, that's the part that makes it it's the highest point. We get to know Sirius being tortured. This is the beginning of the turmoil of this whole book. This is where like it's twisting. Like this is where it takes a step ahead. That's when things start to roll forward into the and up until the end. We see that vision, and then everything changes from that moment. Nothing is the same. Nothing will ever be the same. This is the start of this trajectory of this episode. Ever since that, nothing will ever be the same. I'm dramatic, but yeah. So that's why it's so up high. We leave such a high note that like leaves you want to read more. Like what makes a good episode the best episode is how engaging it is, up until how much emotions do you feel in it. So that's how I rank them. It's the high stakes, it's the thrill, it's like it's ending in that note, and like you can't end the reading period, like you can't stop reading there, like you have to continue up until the end. At this point, this is the point where you start reading, you can't stop because there's so much high stakes and so many things happening, and you have to continue reading. That's why it's up there. Wait. Wait. Okay. Next is, I'm going to switch it up because it was really hard to get this episode. I scored really fast there. Is, yeah, Professor Umbridge. That's the right. That's the episode in which Fred and George advertises for volunteers to test their project. The trio discusses their schedules and the upcoming owls. Harry has an outburst in defense against the dark arts. Umbridge assigns him detention for a week, and McGonagall warns him to keep his temper under control. Actually, I think I would have switched this in the detention one. I think I mixed them, so I put it there. But yeah, it was still a good episode, really good episode. I just think it should be lower. Yeah, it was a interesting. It was just an interesting episode. She didn't suffer over just like the response, and like I yeah, it keeps you reading. So, but I think it should be lower. So just note that. In my opinion, it should be lower. I just don't know what I put it there. Anyway, next. Okay, next chapter 15. I keep holding it. I keep holding it. That is way easier. The Hogwarts High, the Hogwarts High in Inquisitor. Yeah, she's just like she checks on everybody. Yeah, I will read. In which Umbridge is made Hogwarts High Inquisitor, and Harry loses his temper again in defense against the dark arts, saving another week of detention. Umbridge observed the professor in class, and Ron and Hermione tried to convince Harry to give defense against the dark arts lesson. That's the part that makes it the best. Also, she's such a bitch. I know, like, you wouldn't think I would have put this episode so high. It's because the last part here, where they try to like they come up with the idea to rebel against that. I love that. I know. I'm trying to skim it through. I don't want to make it long. I'm like tired of talking so much in these videos. Um, Next, chapter 16, in the hog's head. Yeah, yeah. So this is before. This is after last episode. So this is where he executes the plan. We're talking about 15. That's why they like kind of like next to each other. They just flow, and I mean all these episodes flow. I don't know what I'm saying, but like they just like it lives on, like we're planning to do this, which is very interesting, captivating. Like you want to read the next book to see if it comes through. And in this episode, it's when we discuss it with them. Yeah, I would read it. In which Harry, Hermione, and Ron hold a meeting at the Hog's Head to discuss with other students the possibilities of Harry giving them defense against the dark lessons. And Hermione tells Ron and Harry that Ginny is dating a Michael Corner, and Harry doesn't care really. He just mentions that like in this chapter it still doesn't care. He still enjoy this in this part. And at the end of this book, it's when he's like, nah, I don't like you anymore. And I think in the sixth book is when he starts to feel things for Ginny. But at this point, he's like, oh, so that's why she can talk to me right now, because beforehand she couldn't talk to him. We didn't know that Hermione told her to like try dating other guys and start showing Harry how she is. That kind of works, but not immediately. And yeah. Yes. So, but the whole part, I lingered on that. It's interesting that they start talking about like him teaching them. It was just such a good part of this episode. Like the feeling of the rebellion, like them coming up with the word to rebel. It's just so good. I love it. By the way, I'm going to do the other part in this moment. Oh no. Wait. We're gonna reach it. We're gonna reach it. We're gonna reach it. Sex. Okay. Next is chapter 21, The Eye of the Snake, in which Harvard's class is observed by Umbridge, Ginny, and Ginny Weasley replaces Harry as Gryffindor Seeker. Dumbledore army meets again, and Harry and Cho kiss. In a dream, Harry witnesses Arthur Weasley being bitten by a huge snake. Yes. A lot of things is happening again. Like in each episode, basically, a lot is happening, and even if it's not happening, it led to things happen. Like even in the episode before 16, which they just discussed it, it's still interesting to see them come up with the idea and then execute It is, um, yeah. So the there's like a teenager part of it. There's the romance. That's kind of good. Um, yeah, the over the barbecue of the habit is also something, and that's not why the part that makes it so high is we living in a high stakes again. It's like the same thing with series, but this time it's prevented. At the end of it, something comes out of it. That's why I understand why he took the serious thing seriously, because of this moment where he see Arthur really being bitten by a huge snake, and then it comes through and he saves him. That's why he went with the serious thing, because it worked last time. It just happened this time it was a trick and hard and like but like you know, but that's why, because of the ending, because the whole Weasley being attacked, it was just so, the way it ends, shock. It's like, what's gonna happen? And you have to continue because you can finish like on that chapter like really, really. I cannot stop. I need to know what happened. Is Arthur okay? Because you care for this Weasley family so much. They're the best family in this world, by far. By far. I wonder that. Anyway. Okay. Chapter 5, which is the episode after that. So yeah. You see the pattern. Usually like the episode beforehand, like this is where Arthur gets, we see him get attacked, but nothing is being done yet. We just see the attack, and then the next one, it's the consequences and like it's the action. So in the first one, it's like we see it happening, and the next one, we solve it or we try to solve it. Yeah. Anyway, Saint Mungo Hospital for Magical Maladies and Injuries, in which Arthur Weasley is rushed to St. Mungo Hospital. Dumbledore sends Harry and the Weasley back to Sirius' house, and they visit Arthur in his hospital as he makes his recovery. High stakes, a lot of happening. You are worried about Arthur throughout of the episode. It's We get to know that he was in his head. Harry gets like at the end of it, he feels really bad because he thinks he's the one who done it, which is not the case. He's not the one who done it, and then Ginny comforts him. I think it's in this episode, which is like such a sweet moment. I think it's in there. Oh, it's the next one, because at the end of it, he's like hearing them talk about it being like in his head and like positive, and then he gets very lonely and like it's very sad, but like anyway. Okay, anyway. Chapter 5, The Order of the Phoenix, in which Harry learned of Sirius Black's family background, and Molly and Sirius have a raw regarding what is best for Harry. So the best part of it is getting to know the history about Sirius Black. It's just such a fascinating. It explains the lore. It explains a lot of things about the whole wizarding community, how everybody is related. It is such a fascinating episode. getting to know Sirius is so important where you love him so much at the end, while at the end is so impactful. But yeah, just the whole getting to know who Sirius Black and like about Bellatrix Strange, which we know she's insane, she's like a villain, and at the end of the book we see her in action, and we see her released from the Azkaban, and like how it affects Neville Longbottom. Um, yeah, that's why it's so high, because of the explanation of the how they relate to the Weasley. That's actually in chapter 6, I think. So we get to I'll talk about it when we get to it. But anyway, chapter 9, the rules of Mrs. Weasley, in which Ron and Hermione become perfect. Harry is jealous, and Mrs. Weasley Boggart is revealed. So that's part about that made me almost cry, where she says that all family dead there, and just like the whole sequence to it, him being jealous is so like like Harry's so like imperfect in this is just insane. You just so many of like, oh, I'm so it's insanely jealous. Not insane, but he's really jealous. Like he actually feels that it's so interesting. Like it's just the feeling of being left out that I understand, but it's like, I can excuse everything, But like, it's so real and raw and makes him in this book a great, morally great character. I mean, he's still good and his intentions are good, but like he's driven with recklessness, very much like Sirius Black. The part that makes it very emotional to me and so high is the ending with her seeing her aunt and like, everything like that. That's impactful. Next, next is Next is chapter 6, which I just talked about. The novel of the most ancient house of Black, in which Harry, Sirius, and the Weasleys clean the Black House creature. The Black family house elf shows another dark side to the house elves, darker side to house elves. Yeah, I just read the same thing. Yeah, Harry is shown the Black family tree, and we learn that series is not only related to the Weasley and Tonks, but to the Malfoy and the Lestranges. This is what I'm talking about. These two episodes is just such interesting. Like I devoured this episode knowing all of this. Because up until there it was kind of depressing, you know. And then he gets to know Sirius, and the whole like moments with Sirius in this part is so heartwarming and so good, and then at the end we get taken away. But yeah, so that's why it's so high. The whole story, the relationship to the Malfoy, the Weasley, it's just the whole family tree is explained is just such a fascinating thing. My hair is looking so good. Last time I filmed it, my hair was a mess and I felt dizzy and I didn't feel good. So it's nice to film it in a better environment. So that's it. I finished with the 4 stars. I still have the 5 stars to do. Will I do it today? Will I? I don't know. It's still been good though.